Live.
Now. With
Yeah,
the
now.
bars. Oh, I see. Welcome to BS session number 132. Sometimes you just want to talk amongst yourselves.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, Realistically Speaking podcast.
I'm feeling verklempt.
Well, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
It's
Good to see
been
everybody.
Absolutely.
quite a long time. I don't remember the episode I was on first, but that was an exceedingly long time ago.
Mm,
It was a while back, man. Yeah.
I like that.
I don't think I've
definition.
been on a
things have
podcast
changed.
since May.
Mhm. We got
Yeah,
a few
you busy
people in
guy.
the comments too that we should say hi to. So a few people early. 1AB chiming in early, saying to hit that like button. 5 p.m. I like that.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yuka Kazi in there as well. Carly shouting in, hey. Hello
Classic.
to you too, Carly. And 1AB asking, what do you think of the the SIG P320 fiasco?
What now?
I mean,
Is there more?
I think it ends today.
oh man, it's so terrible that that's going on. I mean,
Mhm.
holy crap! I don't have any direct,
Have you-
a ton of hands-on experience with the P320, but
Mhm.
you know, the
So-
fact that a number of incidents have occurred over the last number of years is pretty sad.
I haven't really caught up.
That's still going on. I haven't followed any of it, but it was like a year and a
The-
half.
the
ago
Air
I
Force just
started
pulled.
reading. Oh, it took them this long.
The Air Force just pulled
What are
it.
they? The fucking
Yeah,
liberal
and
government?
they're like, nah, it's like,
Oh,
okay,
crap,
everyone
I
dump
said
your
fucking
handguns,
the
just take
first
it on
5
the floor.
minutes.
You'll be fine.
I don't know if it was the complete Air Force or if it was just what they call the GSE, which is the Global Security something, which is
Mhm.
what maintains security for all
Yeah.
the nuclear bases and so on. But yeah, it was a command level directive to stop using all SIGs, at least for the
Mhm.
general security, whatever that organization is called.
I-
The
I
M18s.
think-
Yeah,
I
or
think some.
M17s.
I guess
yeah.
there weren't enough desk pops going on to really get ahead of that thing.
I prefer these desk pops than anything else.
All right.
I agree with you. So
Yes.
I think
Wow.
there's also been a number of training organizations, like private training groups, and that have also said, "Don't bring one to our class.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
Don't show up with one. Show up with anything else."
Jeez. I
I'm
mean,
going to show
we
up
can
with a
laugh
SIG
about it, but it is
320 and a Blackhawk holster.
it is very it's sad and
Mhm.
extremely unfortunate that obviously like
No
the
kidding.
airman died. Yeah, it's wild.
So
It's
hold on.
That
somebody
M17 is a handsome gun, though. You know, and it's too bad. It's just a lump.
died.
Oh, aesthetically they do look great.
Yeah.
Now it's maybe a battle between SIG and HK as to who can market better.
Mm.
I say that facetiously. I like HK firearms too.
Yeah.
Well, HK's
It really
marketing
does,
plan is
Jens.
don't sell the
HK all the
civilian,
way.
so. It's a bold strategy.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So
What are we doing here tonight?
yeah, what do we want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about sponsors first
You
before we
bet.
get too deep
do
into
it.
the
Yeah.
Tom F.
Good idea.
All right. Tonight, as usual, we are brought to you by one of many, but the first being Call Sign 66, Canada's finest rifle training. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course now at callsign66.ca and follow them on Instagram at callsign66, spelled out, and on Facebook at C/S66. And stay tuned. They have their 4-day combined fundamentals course coming up August 1st through 4th. When is
Yep.
it? Where is that? Is that next weekend already?
That's basically next weekend. Yep.
Yeah.
Yokohama. Yeah. Yeah.
Coming up
Friday
hot.
through Monday.
Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah. I was just talking to Miles and Cappy yesterday. They're getting ready for that. Cappy's unfortunately at work next weekend, so I'm not sure what Miles has out there for help, but he's busier than a one-armed paper hanger, as the old guy would say.
Well, that's a good problem to have.
Take us out of this uncomfortable moment and read the next fucking ad, please.
If a comfortable moment with your firearm, you should talk to Oscar at Ribstone Gunsmithing. Ribstone Gunsmithing, craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm. Oscar also has a new book out titled Rust Bluing in the 21st Century. Find it on Amazon.
Not so new. It's several months old now.
It's still pretty fresh.
Well, it's new. If you're
cool.
listening now,
I
it's
think
new.
we should ask for more money if we're going to continue.
Ask him to rust glue
Promoting
some
his
things
book.
for you. That's actually pretty cool.
That's
Rust
right.
bluing is a beautiful finish. It is exceedingly involved to do, and not particularly easy to acquire the chemicals as it used to be to actually make the concoction.
Good to
Oh,
know.
thanks, Bill Nye.
There you go. And I know this because I've been trying to find this stuff lately.
You should contact Oscar at Ribstone Gunsmithing.
Yeah, we just said that. Now you read the next ad.
I know. I'll read the next one. How about we also have Mark Scopes. The Dion Optical Design line of rifle scopes has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Nisa at markscopes.ca.
I would just like to give an informal shout out to the I don't know, the equipment manufacturers that Mike's using tonight. Do better. That's all I can say.
It's weird
we are
because
also
nothing's
here.
changed. That's the weird part.
I don't know.
You said you
Maybe
used
there's a
different
cloud
camera.
over your house.
It's one of those like lemon, lime, or potato powered alarm clock science experiments.
Right. Yeah. Change your wires. All right. We are also here thanks to Apex Optics. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Check out all the fine competition rifle scopes, red dots, and binoculars at apexoptics.co. Just a quick note, Apex is tariff proof. Are they still tariff proof? There's deal, no deal going on with our bloody governments here. Who knows?
Tariff proof for us because it doesn't go through the states.
We're moving like the entire country is physically moving to Europe to join up and spoon with like Italy or some shit. I don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on.
There's worse countries to spoon with. I'm just saying.
Well, maybe there's some good looking Italian women, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, let's get past this, shall we? I kind of caused this, didn't I? Anyway, yes. Canadian and international orders shipped direct from their Calgary warehouse, and American orders shipped from the great state of Texas. No tariffs, no hassle. Question mark? I think that still stands.
That still stands. Definitely still stands.
Okay, good.
If you want a precision rifle that gives you no hassle, we're talking about EM Precision Rifles in Vegreville, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Find Shane and Steve on Facebook, Instagram, and on their website at emprifles.ca. If you want to get yourself a nice barreled action from them and support a great cause, there is a draw with Sapril. $20 a ticket gets you a chance to win a barreled action from the team at EM Precision Rifles. So,
what is that? Anyway, I can't remember. I saw it just the other day. What is that?
Essentially, it's Curtis custom action with your choice of barrel and chambering. Yes.
And it's an MDT chassis, I think, right?
No, it's just barreled action.
Oh, just barreled action? Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking of something different.
Whatever you want to throw it in. There's the capper draw.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
We'll shout that out. That's a 6.5 PRC in a, I want to say a Hunt 26 chassis.
I think that's right.
Leopold scope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a Mark V or something,
Yeah.
if
So
I'm remembering correctly.
also a great draw to support a great Canadian cause. Now,
Yeah, that's coming up soon. The Rimfire Worlds, right?
it
And
is.
Capra will be
Oh.
heading there, I think, to the UK in, is it end of August or September or something? I don't remember.
I think it's a month.
Well, I
so
just hope they
probably
don't run
September.
into any protests.
Mike, are you still there? Hello.
All right. In Mike's absence,
Yeah.
Bolt Action Coffee, bringing specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at simply boltactioncoffee.com.
We're also brought to you by Odell Engineering. Pick up a Canuck shotgun, Bergara rifle, and Apex ammunition from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. Look them up on Instagram, Facebook, and on their website, odellengineeringltd.com. And I think we've hammered home the fact that they've had to start a new Facebook page for a while. So if you're not always
we can get rid
already
of it.
following that, make sure you do. So
I do have one question though. What's a Canoosh shotgun? Is that a new model? The Canoosh. I like it. I really like it, honestly.
it's more tuned for the extremely rural customers.
The Baba
Exactly right.
Canoosh.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's probably just a normal Canuck, just mispronounced.
That's so dull. Like, put something on it. Like, and not just a rail either. All right. And finally, Sterling Arms International, home of the R18 Mark III and the R9 Mark I. We will never die. They may be down, but they're not out. Stay tuned for the latest updates on the battle to get the R9 back. We do have some interesting information that we are not going to disclose at the moment, but there may be some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
I
tunnel
do have
everybody's
some-
looking down, but what you do in your own home is your own business, I suppose.
I do have some information to divulge. We'll talk about our draw going on first, and then I'll jump into kind of an update on the Sterling situation. So,
okay.
I was gonna read the draw for the 338 Lapua.
Oh,
yes.
Were you gonna do that, or did you want me to?
I was gonna let you read it, and then I'd go into talk about Sterling.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I can do that if you like.
That'd be appreciated.
All right. So remember, folks, we have 338 Lapua up for grabs, a draw, which we have. By we, I mean I have been completely shitty at advertising. But it's a Curtis Custom Action, full custom 338 Lapua, built by EM Precision Rifles. Curtis Custom Action. It's the Curtis Helix long action with the obviously 338 Lapua bolt face. An IBI 30-inch. I have written here stupid heavy barrel, which it's really stinking
It's that
heavy.
profile.
It's a truck axle.
yeah. It was actually taken off a Toyota Tercel or a Corolla.
That's right. Hey, great steel. I'm telling you.
Great cars, great barrels.
Custom EM precision brake blended in. Trigger Tech Diamond, of course, all laid into a custom laminated stock built specifically like Rifles Refined. Oh crap, I can't remember his name right now. Shit. Anyway, Rifles Refined. They're out in Ontario. He's out in Ontario, does wonderful, amazing woodwork. He and I worked back and forth to create this custom rifle stock. You can see it. Where can we see it? Where do I have it? We have it on our Instagram, I guess. That photo. We should probably put it up on our Facebook or I think
it's on
Instagram
Facebook.
and Facebook. Yep. But not on our website because none of us are really website savvy. We're really selling shit here, hey?
Yes. Really selling our qualifications.
I swear.
Anyways, we're much bad. Yeah.
Mm.
$20 an entry can be sent to info@bspodcast.ca. Be sure to include, please, your email address, phone number as a backup contact method, and in the or put your phone number in the comments so we know how to get a hold of you. Draw will happen once 500 entries have been received. I'm considering shortening that up a little bit. Sales have kind of died off. Like right off the bat, we got like 220 or something like that.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, nah. And I've been hearing this from a lot of people that that have put stuff up for sale, and like firearms, motorcycles, whatever. People aren't buying stuff. But I can almost guarantee you that this will be the best $20 338 Lapua you will ever own. Almost.
Almost.
It could be,
Almost.
and it'll go a long way
I can't-
when you start spending money on ammo.
Amen. Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe I should buy a
Take that
ticket. I have-
$8,500 that you would have spent.
I've got
You got
200 pieces of-
$8,480 to spend on ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I've got 200
Yeah.
pieces of unused Lapua 338 brass. So,
Mm.
Excellent.
or is it Lapua? I guess,
Anthony,
whatever.
you want to shoot your email out to the crowd there then?
Well, if they want to buy me tickets, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the plan.
All
right. So just kind of to roll on with our sponsors, I'm going to give a update on the R9 situation. So for those of you that don't know, unfortunately, it was July 6th. That's when the news came out that the R9 that we all dearly love has unfortunately been reclassified by the RCMP's firearms reference table from non-restricted straight to prohibited. So obviously that was a big shakeup, and obviously that has a lot of consequences for us owners and users. However, there's a little bit of light on the horizon. There has been a good amount of pressure via the media and via 4 MPs that have kind of shined a light on this situation. And essentially what has happened is that the RCMP has agreed to review their decision. And Sterling has sent them a technical package with details at which to review that decision with. Now, there's a few more details.
Go fuck yourself.
One of the photos in the technical package is just a big old middle finger with like measurements and like specs and radiuses.
As kind as I possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah. In 2D and isometric view as well, too. Just in case. And a CAD file. Yeah. So anyways, that has happened. But one thing I want to bring up, kind of the implications is obviously there's no guarantees because this is the RCMP and the government. Just like 1AB brought up the Royal Corrupt Manipulated Police. Unfortunately, policing is not a perfect institution in this country or other countries as well. We'd like it to be, and we aspire it to be, but it's not. So unfortunately, it could still remain prohibited, or it could be returned to non-restricted or possibly even classified as restricted. However, if it is turned around to one of the two latter categories, this has interesting implications in my mind. Because our Prime Minister now, Carney, as he said during the campaign, one of the few things he said on firearms was that we should leave the classifications of firearms to the experts at the RCMP. So, yes, we'll get into that too. So, essentially, if the government were to turn around and just, oh, I see it, it would look bad because they'd be undermining the so-called experts at the RCMP's firearms lab. so that if they were to do that, they'd kind of end up shooting themselves in the foot and making themselves look bad. And if there's one thing that the Liberal government tries to avoid for the most part, is making themselves look bad. And a note on the technical abilities of the RCMP's firearms lab, we've also learned too that there is no standard at which a technician or technologist becomes qualified at the firearms lab. Essentially, there is no minimum standard for them to meet. Essentially, if they like your resume and hire you, you become a technician or technologist at the firearms lab. And there's not as much knowledge as we'd like to think there as it appears from the outside. So that's kind of an update on the R9. We're going to have a talk here with JR shortly, and hopefully gets you some more updates on the situation as we find out. As this has big implications. One thing that 1AP brings up, is there an amnesty for R9 owners as of right now? No. So essentially, if you have an R9 and you're to be found in possession of one, it's the same thing as being possession of an AK-47. It's not on the amnesty that the other OIC firearms would be on. Same with the crypto. So essentially, it's went from straight to non-restricted to prohibited. You're going to jail. Even though the FRT is not technically law, it is de facto law. So hopefully this, in theory, should unravel some of the shit mess that is the FRT and the RCMP's classifications of firearms. So that's kind of my update and my 2 cents. You're gonna have to say that again, Mike. We didn't hear you.
Oh, I would say I look forward to bringing the G11 back into civilian hands.
So that's kind of
G11,
the Croat space magic. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have a reference round of I have
There's
a live round of
that
caseless stuff. Unfortunately, I don't know where it is. Otherwise, I'd show it up on screen. But it is very, very cool. Very neat piece of technical historical development in small arms and ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine dropping one of them in the mud. Fire control group just gone. Like, well,
the thing looks like a
that's it. I'm
Swiss
done.
watch on crack inside. You'd be screwed.
Good thing there's no mud in a military context.
Yeah, exactly. The whole FRT thing is really interesting, though, and hopefully, what JR is able to share and so on, and what comes out of this, we obviously all hope has a positive impact on other things going on. I think most active gun owners are aware of the various lawsuits, right, going on against the government as well. Mm-hmm. And certainly, I think the R9 is a specific or individual example of greater issues at hand that are affecting the consumers, the businesses, the industry, everything, especially with arbitrary designations and or redesignations. And Derek, kind of like you mentioned, I've interacted with a bunch of people in the FRT and in the lab and so on, and they're all totally great people. But if there is inconsistency in how things are inspected, so on and so forth, hopefully that gets rectified as well.
Exactly. And that also opens up the door to like a big for the CCFR's case. A big argument they had is that the term variant is extremely vague.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Which we all know it is, and we all know that it intentionally is. This also, I think it's a low probability, but it does have some probability of solving that. Now, the RCMP, again, they may back down rather quickly from this and reclassify the R9 potentially in order to avoid scrutiny to themselves. But it, in theory, I'm giving it a low chance, could help actually define, okay, what is a variant in Canada?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes, and that's, I think, I mean, you're absolutely right. That's the heart of one of the main high level arguments about everything going on. It's how do you actually define the lineage of a variant? You know,
Mm-hmm.
do you if you're basing it hypothetically purely on history, is every pistol made nowadays a direct variant of John Browning's 1903,
Yeah.
right? Or then the 1911? Obviously, you know, maybe not. Well, it's actually a reasonably good example. Lots of guns have borrowed the tilting barrel concept,
Mhm.
but in and of itself, does that make that a variant of that pistol? Realistically, it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, that is to a degree that's the crux, or one of the bigger topics at hand that hopefully gets properly settled within the lawsuits and everything else. Of what is a variant? Everyone knows, logically speaking, that aesthetics should not define a variant,
Mhm.
but logic and
Okay.
so
I was
so
just
on
going to say, Tony.
doesn't help.
Yeah. Right. So this man, I can't believe how many times this has come up lately in conversations I've had lately. Jesus Christ, the past at least 5 years, I'm sure. The trouble with discussions like this is logic,
Yeah, exactly.
and applying that to the people that have been in charge since 2015.
Yep.
And it doesn't fit well.
Mhm.
Logically speaking, is almost like it's a goddamn fallacy now.
Yes.
Honestly, it's a fucking unicorn. Logically speaking, practically speaking, common sense, all those things. Like collectively, Canadians have gotten incredibly retarded.
Mhm.
And especially with regard to the government, the lawmakers,
Mhm.
we can't get out of this bubble of thinking logically, because the way things have always gone, the way they've always made laws, all this kind of stuff prior to 2015,
Mhm.
everybody knew that, you know, there's arguments to be made on both sides,
Absolutely.
and this is how law works, right? They've created something. I'm not going to say new, because I'm sure this has all been done before, but it's sort of unique in modern Canada.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
to speak, and it's going to sound like I'm just being a grumpy old dick, but to speak
Kurt?
logically,
No.
me
Sorry.
cynical? No, not a chance.
Not at all.
Just work with me here, all right? You
Mhm.
fucking
Yeah.
millennial. it we can talk this way all we want.
Yeah.
The curveballs will continue to come,
Absolutely.
because man, again, if I had $1 for every time I said this, the devious mind like outthinks
Yes.
the logical normal mind,
Absolutely, it does.
because
Mhm.
we think along the lines of rules and what do you say, social norms,
Mhm.
what's good for the whole.
Mhm.
These people do not. These people are 2-3 steps ahead because of that devious mind.
Mhm.
We're uh, I can't help but think we're kind of effed in a lot of
Well,
ways,
and I think
because
it's
they're thinking about ways to sloof at us long before we think about skating down the ice, man.
it's
Mhm.
also a difference in end goals, right?
Yes,
The end goal
very
for
much.
a certain portion is just purely get rid of as many firearms as possible. But that end goal is immediately different from the perspective of even people who aren't gun owners but can logically understand, oh yeah, you know, that would track. Yeah, you should, if you own those, you should be allowed to own them, so on and so forth. But if the goal is to just get rid of it versus the goal to have some level of common sense to ownership, you're always going to have exactly what you just said, Kurt. The arguments that are spurious and predetermined, I guess, so to speak, to just follow the track constantly of no, it needs to be gone. And so they will only ever argue from that perspective.
Yeah.
And then you're basically playing chess or checkers and chess, right?
Right.
With the same with multiple groups in the same room.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happens when you're trying to play chess with a checkers player, and that checkers player insists on being there, but refuses to admit that he's playing checkers.
Yeah.
But he's still in the game. He's still allowed to participate.
Exactly.
This is what we're dealing with in Canada.
Yep.
Fuck, it's one of the best analogies I think I've heard about Canada in the last decade.
It's
or
kind
two.
of, well, yeah, and kind of going back to the topic on like variant, right? At a high level.
Yeah.
If you asked anyone on the street, is a current car that you drive a variant of a Model T? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is a variant of a car defined by the fact that it shares a combustion engine?
Yeah.
Right.
Or is it a Corvette?
Unique properties.
Right.
Or is it a Corvette and a Peterbilt?
Right.
Or like they both have tires. They have an engine, transmission. They both drive.
Exactly.
Go down the road, headlights. They got two of them.
Yeah.
But
and therein lies the crux of the problem, right? We are arguing it from a perspective of logic being applied to the concept of being allowed to own firearms.
Right.
And then there's the opposite
and doing
side.
the right things with them, Tony.
Exactly. And the opposite side is arguing from a perspective of we don't actually care because we'll make up whatever argument we want to suit that point in time to say why you shouldn't have them.
Sure.
Not to quickly derail the conversation, but Spud's comment is
hilarious.
Drive a Ford. It's a very
Dodge.
Yeah. We've all seen those.
So interesting comment right below there saying Big Tony has spent time either in law office or a library. Maybe a library a bit. Certainly not for law. I do very much enjoy this sort of stuff. But interestingly, and I think it's actually somewhat common across this industry, both people who work in it to a degree and the consumer side. If you're in the shooting sports, it tends to make you significantly more aware of law and legalities and so on and so forth. Because I work for Odell Engineering and Canuck, and at the distributor level, of course, we submit applications for FRTs, all that. I've written a number of those myself. So yes, I take a very legal approach to how I think and talk about things, especially when it comes to firearms. Partly because work.
Well, you're forced to, Tony.
Sorry?
You're forced to.
Oh, 100%. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's a great thing to understand and know. And it makes you very aware of the nuances in a lot of situations, both in this industry and outside of. But yes, interesting comment there made about the legal side of things. And you're exactly right. It's legalese has become the necessity of discussion.
The common man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know what it all reminds me of? Like the old cartoons. Dance, fool! And guy starts shooting his pistols into the ground and getting the guy to dance. That is our firearms law system.
Yes.
Like, boom, 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 boom. Like, you don't know what we're going to do next. We might shoot you in the foot. We might not. But we're going to keep you on your toes.
Well, and, when you think about it, it's always up to the individual to be aware of the laws for whatever it is they're participating in, right?
Even though the cops have no fucking idea.
Exactly. And I mean, in a way, you can't fault the everyday officer because realistically,
That's right.
dealing with firearms is probably 0.1% of their day-to-day job for the most average police officer in Canada.
Domestics
and
and
so-
immigration are the tops.
Exactly. So you can't necessarily fault them for not knowing, but if the person participating in it as a regular hobby who's actually interested can't know,
Yeah.
the likelihood of the law enforcement side knowing is even lower. And if we're within the industry confused or as confused as often happens due to the laws and the ambiguities, then yeah, I have no reason to believe that anyone in law enforcement will have the ability to even understand it either, which is why often you then see things immediately, they get sorted out in court, right?
The unfortunate part of that is having to defend yourself in court and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
And this is another thing about Canada that bothers the shit out of me, that whole idea about innocent until proven guilty. Fuck no. That is not Canada.
Maybe
You
financially
are
ruined until proven not guilty.
Nah, bullshit.
At a conceptual level,
guilty.
yes. At a conceptual level, yes. At a functional level, no.
Yeah, I don't even know about that anymore, Derek. Honestly, conceptual, no. I maybe strictly yes, but typically the way things have gone for the last 15, 20 years, no. You're fucked.
I think a lot of, certainly on the firearm side, people are especially jaded because we hear of and or see cases where someone's arrested for something that isn't actually illegal or whatever it was they were doing, and then it defaults to the courts will figure it out. And so you are presumed to basically be breaking the law as a firearms owner in a lot of cases until you show that you haven't. And it's definitely, I mean, can't comment in other areas, but certainly in the firearms industry, it's a poor application of law, put it that way.
You know, I've often questioned our lawful, our compliance with the law as legal gun owners, our compliance with Canadian law. You look at what happens with legal gun owners. We have licenses. We go through the stringent testing, the validating, especially if we have restricted licenses that were checked daily. And if we're caught doing something stupid, just something stupid, not even egregious like murder, we are set up for 10 plus years and God knows how much in fines. The bonehead that grabs an illegal Glock that comes over the border or in a sea can or whatever and goes and shoots up a neighborhood or robs a convenience store or whatever the hell he does is out in 3 fucking days.
Yeah.
What is the point in me having a license? What is the point in me complying, bending over to comply with all the laws, keeping all my shit locked up all the time, except for when I'm at home actively working on the goddamn things? Why? What's the point? Because I'm looking at way more time and money if I have a fucking license.
Yeah. And you're not wrong. Unfortunately, it's been shown that there's been lots of cases like that where someone who's legitimately breaking the law, and legitimate is a I guess you can argue that both ways, but someone who's actually breaking the law in a criminal manner, causing a violent or committing a violent offense and so on seems to be treated relatively lightly compared to those who want to follow the law, and that's wild.
Well, I think a lot of that, a good bit of that is the Trudeau administration, because I'm sure most of you may remember, we've heard or seen the term "justice is blind." So essentially, I think we all recall the statue of the lady holding the scales. She has obviously a ribbon over her eyes, so she cannot see. So she is weighing essentially the actual what's going on. She's not seeing what's going on. She's hearing and measuring what's going on, unbiased. The Trudeau administration has admittedly changed that in their bail and in their sentencing kind of directives to judges, in which it's become a kind of social justice sentencing.
Yep.
Is essentially what it has become. So essentially you have to, a lot of these people know how to exploit that system. They know how to make the case that
That's right.
they themselves are the victim, even though they have victimized many other peoples. So that's unfortunate, because again, we're resulting in a situation
there we
where
go again with logic and normal people's thinking against ideology and devious minds.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had conversations with now retired crown attorneys and judges who have said, and relatively recent, within the last number of years, retired, their hands are tied, even as a judge, right? Because the laws have been written and changed in such a way that they can't dish out meaningful sentences, even if they wanted to, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So I wanted to.
Are they trying though?
Who knows?
You know what? When you get some son of a bitch on the bench that says, "Well, you know what? I know you killed a couple of people, but if we go ahead and prosecute you, that could jeopardize your legal entry into this country. Maybe we should just delay this a little bit and consult a lawyer." And is that not completely on the fucking judge? Regardless of what the law says, like,
But I totally get what you're saying, 100%.
Bit of a different topic, I suppose, but holy smokes.
Yeah.
You guys got me revved up today. Sorry.
To rev,
I got to do my box breathing.
I got an idea to rev us down a little bit. Tony, you talked earlier about an FRT application. So obviously, you being in the business with bringing firearms into Canada, what does that process look like? Because that's a process that not many of us, pretty much nobody really gets to see, except for a very select number of people.
So
in this country,
I guess it kind of partly depends on the assumed classification of a gun. Like, hypothetically, let's say we wanted to import, I don't know, something that's known as prohib, MP5, AK-47, whatever. But let's assume that doesn't have an FRT in Canada, just for the sake of the argument. If the business is licensed, right? Every business is licensed in Canada with a BFL, and there's a variety of things you can have on your BFL, right? So you might just be licensed to sell non-restricted. You might be licensed to sell restricted. You might be licensed as an importer. You can deal with prohibited firearms, prohibited devices, so on and so forth. Those are just all various things that you can get on your business license. Yeah. So generally speaking, if you're a functional firearms business in Canada at the distributor level or whatever, and you want to bring a new gun into Canada, and it's not obviously non-restricted, a bolt gun is pretty obvious. You don't really have to go through an inspection to show that that is indeed a bolt action firearm, right? Technical drawings, photos, details will very clearly show that, and that's very obvious. In the case of a semi-auto, which is kind of where the main crux of everything going on in the laws and OICs and so on. If you're licensed to import and so on and so forth, you bring a gun in to the country. You then prepare a submission to the FRT, basically, and you're effectively laying out all the technical information, all the data on the gun, marking, so on and so forth, and then stating why this is a new and novel firearm, or why it's a variant of an existing gun, or whatever those cases may be. And then you submit that. And like I say, if it's not obviously something like a bolt gun, they're probably not going to request, or if it is a bolt gun, they're not, the RCMP, I should say, the inspection lab probably isn't going to request a physical sample, because they can pretty clearly tell that it's a bolt action firearm.
Yeah.
So in the case of a semi-auto, maybe it's an entirely new design, or it isn't. Once you submit the initial application, then they may request that you provide them with a sample. And then at that point, they do their thing. Obviously, I can't comment on that side of things because I don't know exactly what they do, so to speak. But generally speaking, they will then inspect the firearm if they've requested a physical sample, and then make their determination whether correct or not, or at least depending on how you want the outcome to go. They'll make a determination on whether they think it's a variant of something, or if it's a new novel gun based on the physical characteristics like barrel length, overall length, mag capacity. They'll then make that decision as to how they think it should be classified. In which case, hypothetically, I suppose, if the lab says we think it's a variant of something that's prohibited, it's a prohibited gun, maybe you go back and now you're in a bit of an argument back and forth as to why you think it isn't a variant and why they think it is. But typically speaking, it's like a submitted application. And then if they require a sample for inspection purposes, that gets requested. And then they'll do whatever they do in the lab. And then once the decision is made, then you can go and import to your heart's content until it gets OIC'd. But yeah, basically then once an FRT has been issued, let's say it goes successful and they say, yes, it's non-restricted. Now you have an FRT to say, hey, this is classified as non-restricted within the country. Let's import them.
So it's also interesting too, because as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, for importation, firearm requires an FRT entry in order to be imported into the country.
I believe that is correct. I don't recall if that's actually law or not, but
it's one of those de facto laws.
That's exactly right. And
yeah,
you have to remember that CBSA is obviously not RCMP, right? They're entirely separate organizations.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you're bringing into the country. If CBSA doesn't know or doesn't have a specific directive to say that, yes, this is or is not allowed, they will default to the next thing, which in our case is the RCMP and the FRT. And so the FRT then at least is, because it's not law, right? The FRT isn't law.
It's a de facto.
But it's a de facto decision stating,
yes,
yes, this is non-restricted. Now, that being said, if a business is licensed for every class of firearm, the classification of the firearm is kind of irrelevant because the business can import it.
Yeah.
Right? If on their business license, they've been, for whatever justification, they've been given the ability to have all the classes of guns, so on and so forth, well, then the decision is irrelevant. The business can still legally import it. The decision then at that point impacts more so whether that firearm can actually be sold, right, to the general populace or to other businesses.
Yeah, essentially, that have to fall within those with prohibited firearms licenses and use. So
exactly,
which would be mostly law enforcement,
military.
Or
film industry is a great example, right?
Yeah, or film industry. Yeah.
they can have pretty much everything and anything as long as they have that on their BFL and freely import. Clearly, they're different in that they're not distributing. But for all intents, hypothetically, even if there was not an FRT for a given gun, they could still bring it into the country because the classification at that point doesn't really affect whether the business can actually own it or not, assuming they have all those classes on their license.
Yeah. So now, as for domestic manufacturing, as far as I understand it, the onus is on the manufacturer.
I believe that's correct. I don't have any explicit or specific hands-on experience with that, but I think you're correct that if it's produced here, it is not a requirement to have an FRT to be sold. I don't know if that's changed or not, but I believe you are correct in that statement.
Yeah. I do believe the Liberal government is definitely going to want to change that. And they've explicitly said that they want to change that. So just wanted to put that out there to for the understanding of, again, the weird maze that is the FRT.
Well, another way you can think about the FRT in a way is like a product, right? Because if we remove it from the idea that it's used in law enforcement and or CBSA cases to literally reference a gun to understand the classification or characteristics of it, if you remove its internal usage within Canada and how it's being used, it's basically a giant product in a giant database, right? So anyone else, hypothetically, in the world, if they, I guess, purchased it or whatever, or requested access from the RCMP, it's basically just a giant reference. It's to say, like, XYZ firearm has XYZ characteristics. It's a giant database at that point. How it's used explicitly in Canada clearly has changed throughout the years, right? Or its intent behind it. To the question, FRT stands for Firearms Reference Table.
Yeah, I guess so. We do have a number of American viewers, so we should explain what the Firearms Reference Table is. So, essentially, the firearms
law.
So essentially,
if Ian McCollum was giving tons of government money, he would create a reference table like this.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yes. So essentially, 20 years ago at the RCMP, which again is our federal police, at their lab, some of the technicians decided to essentially just start cataloging the different firearms, their traits, etc. And with their technical, quote unquote, experience and knowledge and interpretation of the Firearms Act, because that's the thing we must reinforce, that the overall, the be all end all is either is the Firearms Act or OICs, because those are both made by elected officials.
Yeah.
Whereas the FRT is not. Essentially is a collection of the characteristics, designs, features of firearms by the RCMP and the RCMP's interpretation of the classification. If you go to the FRT website, it will tell you at the bottom of the web page and every FRT that the FRT is not law.
Yeah.
It'll explicitly say that, however, it is de facto treated as law. So
it's not actually based. The one comment here sounds like a registry. It's the FRT itself is not a registry. It doesn't house serial numbers or whatever tied to the ownership of an individual or anything like that. The FRT is purely a giant technical reference database. And then, yes, to Derek's point, the actual the National Firearms Act in Canada is what lays out the laws of firearms ownership in Canada.
Yukikazi chimes in. How are you guys not utilizing First Nation support in court in order to fuck back harder? Like those last three words.
That is for them to decide.
That's for the. Well, that is for. There is in a way, because again, relations with the First Nations from the federal government perspective has always been long fraught. And I saw the biggest example.
Tense since that whole Louis Riel thing.
Yes,
Oh.
we could go all the way back
No
to that.
kidding.
But I'd say the biggest one is the SKS.
No, it's still Louis Riel, but
Yes.
recently the SKS, yes.
Yes, yeah. Historically, yeah, there's been a number of physical conflicts between the two of them. But in terms of firearms, the SKS is kind of the big holdout. Because the SKS is, of course, a semi-automatic firearm, very cheap, very popular amongst a lot of First Nations communities, and therefore, unlike, say, New Zealand, in which they just did a blanket ban on semi-automatics, there was kind of that withholding of the blanket ban by those features, because essentially it criminalized a large portion of the First Nations population in the country and a large portion of firearms owners in general. So
Yeah, and so they haven't actually quote banned or prohibited the SKS as of currently.
It's still not on the list, right?
Still not on the list.
Neither is the
American,
does that not speak to the power of that group of people?
Exactly. And to the I guess American viewers or people who are less familiar with the Canadian laws specifically, OICs aren't just specific to firearms. It's an order in council. And it's basically a promulgation of a statement saying this is now de facto law. And it ignores going through the proper legal channels to become what is typically accepted as a law. And it's a backdoor way to enact something
with
that has a legal framework attached to it. So OICs are typically rarely, if ever, used. And I think if you go back in the history of Canada, they have not typically been used a lot. Unfortunately, they have been used a lot on the firearm side of things. But as a general concept, OICs are meant to be used very rarely.
Okay, so just a second. 1ABNT, One Armed Bandit, just made a comment. I'll put it up here. He says an OIC is an undemocratic process. And he's exactly right. However, when in the last fucking 10 years has Canada actually followed the democratic process?
Well,
there's so many examples
it is a carve out in the government. It exists for a reason. It is not
on special circumstances. It has to meet certain criteria.
Yeah.
And the Liberals have gotten away with, let's just say, dodgy, for now.
Yes.
Dodgy criteria. And there's been no contestation of that shit. This is what annoys the piss out of me is, hold on, this is fringe. We haven't run across this before. And there's many examples since 2015 of this kind of thing. And well, we haven't been here before, but I don't think this is right. But okay, go ahead. And this is the problem with the opposition in Canada. Weak as fuck, honestly. And this is our entire problem. Is that our opposition is really on the same goddamn team. They're just sitting on a different fucking bench. Tell me I'm wrong.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the usage of OICs within firearms is more or less is a unfortunately an exception to OICs and the original intent behind them, from what I understand. And they have been massively abused on the firearm side, partly because at least I think, on a Canada-wide scale, firearms are not a main topic for most people day to day. So they don't really care, which you can't fault them if they're not into it and they have nothing to do with firearms. There's no reason for them to really know, but it's been a small enough targeted audience that order and councils have been used and not publicly defended against. If the government put out an OIC against half the cars in Canada, Canada would be up in arms, and there's not a chance it would ever go through. But because it's attacking a relatively small, relatively voiceless group of individuals, the OICs have thus held. Now, the one positive thing to an OIC is they can be reversed almost as quickly as they're put in place.
True.
So if an actual law goes through the correct legal process and bans firearms, then you have to go through the correct legal process to reverse that. And that is significantly more logistically difficult than a different or more supportive government saying this OIC no longer exists.
Okay, so
as long as the government doesn't stay long enough to codify it into law, hence Bill C-21,
right,
where essentially they codified the 2020 OIC into law. So they can kind of jump the gun and get ahead of the actual democratic process, and essentially play catch up, which is a bold strategy, Cotton, and unfortunately it has paid off for them. So
that was quite the segue there, Derek.
Sorry,
let's talk about Western separation.
We could talk about Tony's trip west.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tony, but fuck the East.
Speaking of Western separation, I had a brief separation from Ontario. And
congrats.
And thank you. It was wonderful. Yes. So through work, Odell Engineering and Canuck, we had sponsored the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge, which is probably one of the largest attended centerfire PRS matches in Canada. I believe this was the second year running. It was an absolutely
just shy of 120 competitors.
Yeah, it was an amazing weekend. The property that it was held on was incredible, absolutely incredible piece of land. They had competitors from France, the UK, I believe. One of the Americans came down from Alaska, and then of course all over the States. So it was extremely well attended with some actually a really interesting mix of experience and shooters, some super top end, high placing shooters from the States, lots of great Canadian shooters. And I'd spent the weekend ROing as well. And there was one or two squads full of almost brand new PRS shooters. And it was their first main match that they'd ever been to, which was actually really cool to see. So it wasn't just the experienced, shooter on more of the top end of things, but it was a great week. I always love coming west. The air is clean compared to Ontario at a bare minimum.
Amen, brother. Amen.
That Rocky Mountain air is also next level. It hits different.
What do you mean though? That dirty oil out here though? What are you talking about?
I didn't smell any of it.
Actually, there was a gas.
We're all
plant.
choking.
Jesus. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but there was a gas plant a couple kilometers away, as you drove in.
Couldn't be.
Yeah.
Couldn't be. You'd all be dead. Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah, it was a fantastic week. Weather was great. Thankfully, the rain held off, so the match was sunny and hot. But it was awesome. It was very well attended. It was great to see so many shooters come from all over the world, I guess, realistically speaking. But loads of shooters came from Ontario as well, which was really cool. Lots from BC. So very well attended, fantastically run match. I know Brewster, you weren't there, but Mike and Derek were, and
No.
the property was absolutely incredible. Lots
Oh,
of very cool stages. Shout out, JR at Sterling Arms had provided a bunch of vehicles and stuff, which were props. So yeah, it was an absolutely fantastic time. Great match and loads of good people.
Yeah, I'm actually just in the process
great.
of
Honestly, sitting in my office watching that kind of stuff when you guys and Chris were commenting, it was fantastic. I'm sitting there hecking away at my mundane fucking job, hating what I was doing, wishing I was there, and watching the match as it was going on. What's that, Mike?
A little part of you was there, though.
Well,
you could just watch
a
it.
Small
You were
part
there.
of me, yeah.
I think I was looking at the numbers. It was almost 4,000 people between like YouTube and Facebook watched that.
That's awesome,
right? Good deal. Yeah, that's pretty exciting to watch. I not meaning to pump tires or anything like that, but when you can tune into a match, especially a match that you're interested in, and you can see actual live fire stuff of people hitting targets or missing targets or whatever, and it was really interesting to me as I was looking at my computer on the side, showing that just the wind effects on stuff. Guys were getting on an 8-inch target, and no problem. They transition over to a 4-inch target, and they're just missing off the right edge constantly and hitting that 8-inch target. They were just like 0.2 off. Just come left 0.2. And you're just sitting there, come left 0.2.
Correct.
Correct. Left edge.
And that's a good point.
It's always left edge.
The stage designs I thought were quite great, and through ROing, most everyone I talked to said that they had a really good time and really liked a lot of the stage designs. The property was really cool because the first couple hundred yards, 300-400 yards, were relatively open, and then there was large pockets of trees and so on. And so the wind definitely, the wind was the factor, right? And like it is for most matches, but especially with where or how a lot of the targets were placed, there was enough change in wind, even between targets of relatively minimal distance difference, that it would be enough you'd be off by 0.2 or whatever at 450, but you were bang on at maybe 350 or whatever. So the target placement and the winds were tricky for a lot of people, even on stages that had solid positioning and you were super solid behind the gun. Lots of people still got screwed with the wind.
I'll bring it up because I was watching. It was interesting commentating too, because obviously we're watching
good stuff, man.
Through the and for those that weren't at the match, we had Mike's. He's like 20-inch TV set up on a table under a tent, and that's how we were watching the stream. We had a laptop, two laptops, and this TV. So I was actually spotting through the TV and obviously commenting on the shooter. But most of the time I was watching through the TV and the cameras, because we have our 30x zoom camera that looks downrange at the target. And that I'll probably end up clipping it, but there was instances where literally you could watch the spalling, like if the shooter is hitting, all of a sudden it's going right left, and then it's going north south, and then it's left right. And you can literally see it dancing shot to shot, because we're able to see spall and dirt kick up and dust downrange.
That is great stuff. Honestly, for the people that are interested in this kind of stuff, but haven't gotten to the point of joining yet, and you see that kind of thing, and you see a miss in the grass out to the right, you see a miss in the grass out to the left, you see a miss in the grass out to the right, and you see a hit on plate, and you see a miss in the grass out to the left. It tells a lot to that person who's thinking about joining but hasn't quite joined yet, what to expect.
Yes.
And honestly,
Not only that, we watched there's a couple of comments I want to bring up from that. One of them was, I watched this on YouTube. I'm coming out next year to try this, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. And then the second one was one of the kids was shooting, and his mom in BC could watch him shoot while they were still at home.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was the Luke Anderson.
That's the most wholesome moment ever.
Also, we had Avery. Try their last name was Jalekar. Also, her parents were out in Ontario watching, and they requested that we interview Avery. So,
oh man,
as good people as we are, we made sure that mom got to see her daughter on the TV and had an interview. So it's also very
pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
There was a whole squad of basically new shooters, and for most of them, I think it was the first centerfire match they'd ever been to, and maybe the first like really organized match they had been to. And so, you know, as an RO, obviously you take things a little bit more at ease, still safety serious, but you help out and you coach them and so on. And you show them a few positional changes or changes to make instead of crouching down like a Slav behind a gun. You know, straight legs, bend at the hips. Just all those little things. And you could see like their face light up when you helped them out. And yeah, that was really cool to see as well. Like, you know, not many people are going to go to a PRS sanctioned match as their first time. But there was a handful of people who did, and one of them turned to me afterwards, and after the stage I was ROing, and he's like, "This is fucking awesome! I'm coming back next year. Like I've never done this before." Nice. Which is super great to see, and I mean that's obviously how the sport grows. Man. But on the flip side, all the experienced shooters and so on, from those who I talked to, had an amazing time as well, and loved the stage design and the different props, especially. And it was still, you know, not a walk in the park for the experienced shooters, but equally applicable to the brand new shooters as well.
Right.
I'm just gonna overlay a photo here quickly. So just shout out to JR for the 19. I think it's 58 Ferret tank.
Look at that glorious gun.
I think his shirt size too small there. Look at that guy.
So just to also highlight, if you look to the left side of the photo, you can see a little mountain there. So we're shooting, in this case, from a treed area through an open area onto the edge of a treed area. So you're more sheltered from the elements, kind of along a valley. So that was very neat. And again, thanks to JR. And also, if you didn't notice, there is a chicken as a muzzle protector on the top of the barrel. So
safety
if you're ever in need.
Yeah, it was a super fun event overall. It was very well run.
Yeah,
loads of great people. It was fantastic. So it was a good time out west.
Also,
that's
another
awesome.
thing
You know,
I want to
like.
Oh, go ahead, Rooster.
Well, I just want to shout out Rick Caddiback with CRPS and the events he puts on at my range out here in late June and early July. It's all such good stuff. And, you know, we get guys out there with 22s and we're reaching out to 700 meters. It's
it's a lot of fun.
Stupid stuff.
Well, and
you know, it's not common.
It's funny you bring up though the rimfire side of things, because down in Ontario, we basically don't have centerfire PRS, and that's not disparaging the guys getting things going, but we don't have the land space to do it.
Right.
And so it's typically, if it does happen, it's on one of two of the military bases, which is fantastic, but that just comes with a whole host of other issues and barriers, basically. So centerfire
Sure.
PRS, for lack of a better term, doesn't really exist in Ontario from a match perspective, due to the limitations. But there is loads of rimfire, and I'm sure a good chunk of the Canadian team going over to Worlds are all Ontario shooters. Not the whole team, but a number of them.
Yep.
So
Ontario and Quebec. Yep.
exactly.
And BC.
Yeah.
There's the BC crew in there too.
Yeah, we've got a load of rimfire matches pretty much all season. Starting in the spring all the way to the fall when snow's on the ground, and depending on where you are in Ontario, getting over to the States into Pennsylvania and New York and some of the other states for matches is relatively easy. So you see loads of rimfire down this way. And the nice thing with that is you still learn all the fundamentals generally that are applicable to centerfire. And Kurt, like you said, screwing around out to 500-600 meters, obviously that's more screwing around than not, but it's a ton of fun. And even if you can learn to shoot at 22 reasonably well to 300, 400 yards,
Amen, brother.
You learn everything that is equally applicable to most other types of shooting in position, consistency, breaking your shot, sight picture, so on and so forth.
Yep.
Speaking of 100%, learning, I want to back it up to a little bit about our coverage. But one thing I noticed is that I think really the coverage is for the beginner and intermediate shooter, especially if we film them on one of the two stages that we covered. Because I know this is obviously it's used by athletes in every single sport, essentially, is watching over game footage. That's a huge thing, like in the Olympics, in a lot of pro sports. So fortunately, there's not that for PRS, but by us broadcasting it, you can actually watch how you shoot.
Yes,
because a lot of these shooters know the basics, but at some same time, if they were shown a video of them, how they're doing and how they're shooting, I know the same thing for me. If you were to video me shooting, I'd probably nitpick a bunch of little things that I did wrong. It's like, I was doing this wrong, doing that wrong.
Oh my God.
But to be outside of yourself
and
watch from afar and be like, damn, I got to work on that.
That was probably one of the most
Derek,
interesting
you have
things,
no idea.
During our rowing.
Who's going first? Anthony, go first.
Sure.
Then Anthony.
To exactly that point, Derek, ROing, right? You're there to primarily make sure that they understand the course, but ultimately it's safety and making sure that the transitions are safe and so on and so forth. And man, was it eye-opening and comical to see how many people had probably some of the most atrocious trigger pull and follow through I've ever watched. And that's not to shit on the shooters themselves, because a lot of them still shot exceedingly well.
Right.
But I would say the vast majority of people pulling a trigger almost started with their finger almost on the outside of the trigger guard, and they'd come in and slap the trigger, and then finger would be immediately off. And it was very interesting seeing all of those little nitpicky details that even the good shooters who were performing well still did. And like Carly just said, NHL teams have video coaches to pull yourself out from your shooting, like Derek just said, and see what you're doing, can improve your overall shooting massively. I see lots of guys at our local rimfire matches film themselves on their stages, right? Set up like your iPhone or whatever it is on a little tripod, just so they can review it, when the match is over and see what they were doing wrong. So yeah, the live stream stuff for newer and kind of the mid-pack shooters, I think is very cool.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you cannot underestimate that kind of stuff. I'll go way back 20 years to my softball pitching days, fast pitch, whatever you want to call it. And you know what you do in the moment. And I always used to get bugged about not looking at anything when I was pitching. I'd get the signal from the catcher and just fucking look down and pitch because it was all muscle memory, right? But if how the hell do I explain this? If there was more to it that I could Jesus Christ.
Come on. So you're basically you're pitching in like the subconscious. You were just kind of going through muscle memory.
Right. It's
Yes.
muscle memory
Yeah.
and go. And it's the same with so many of these shooters that that as long as you get in that groove, you're going instead of just thinking about it and going like.
Are you talking like flow state?
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You just you can't see where it's going, but you know where it's going from the start. You're starting here, and that's it.
Yeah. It's like an auto. It's like a switch, and you're
thanks for
subconsciously take
being
control.
kind and going. Oh yeah, Rooster, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like Mr. Miyagi.
Yes.
Fucking, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Wax on, wax off.
Exactly. So there is.
I'm too fucking tired and drunk to figure this.
I'm gonna elaborate on Rooster's point because there is definitely a lot to it. It's Keith Miller and Linda Cunningham's book.
Yes.
The name escapes me. I
I'm
have
right
it.
there.
Fundamentals of
Fundamentals of Marksmanship.
Yeah.
Mental marksmanship or whatever it was. Great book, but it does talk about the subconscious and the conscious.
Secrets of mental marksmanship.
Yes.
Without the alcohol, I'm right there, Derek. God damn it.
You are right there. So it does talk about obviously you need a little bit of both.
Yes.
Obviously you need to be conscious.
You need a little bit of Linda. More.
Yes.
Sorry.
No worries. So obviously it talks about the subconscious and the conscious mind. And I think that's two very important states to understanding as you're shooting. Obviously, ideally, we want to be subconscious. So that's our repetitions. So our target acquisition, our trigger pull, our follow through. We want to train to the point where that becomes subconscious. But we still have that conscious element to us. So for example, that wind switch. All of a sudden we feel that wind on the back of our neck. And then all of a sudden it's in our face and under our sunglasses. That ticks you out of that subconscious. And it's like, okay, I got a wind switch downrange. Or you feel that breeze. You watch those trees sway. That's all of a sudden, okay, I got to pull myself out of the subconscious, put myself into the conscious. Okay, now I need to change my wind call. And I need to go back in the...
This is where I have a German.
Yes.
My Jens comes in. And he goes,
Yeah.
wait. 0.4 left.
Now, the other really good book from Keith and Linda is their Wind book. It's called The Wind Book for Rifle Shooters. That is probably one of the best written resources outside of shooting and actually just learning to read wind. Probably one of the best written resources on what to pay attention to, and how that impacts when you break a shot, relative to what you're seeing. It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Those people are fucking great.
Yes, they are. And
but I bring up
I was about to comment on that.
I think it's helpful for growing the sport. I know a lot of people have shooted PRS rimfire because of seeing Matt Huey's Wombat videos on YouTube. I could not agree more, and I've referred people. So, like, what exactly do you do? I'm like, just go onto your phone right now, go into YouTube, and search Wombat and watch.
Yeah, Matt and Dory are fantastic people. I shoot regularly with them at the rimfire matches. They're great people.
Yeah,
highly recommend their videos as well.
Yeah, the other thing with the live stream is
crazy
it kind of
shit they do,
legitimizes it more as a sport. Like it adds that little bit more to it, where we're not just a bunch of people standing in a field now. It's a legitimate thing.
We're a bunch of guys standing in the field with cameras. And recording equipment.
Right.
And Starlink.
Derek, I believe I told you specifically, you're an adult, you have Google, figure it out. And then I walked away to go RO.
And then not only that, you got sunstroke.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yes, the truck is a fickle mistress.
So I want to also bring it up to you because I'll just roll back to one of Yukikazi's comments here, because he did say earlier, I tried watching your live streams when I had some free moments. Don't know if I did something wrong, but it looked like unattended backstage footage. Didn't see shooting or hear commentary. Sorry, boys. There was a short period of time, I do believe it was on Saturday, that we kind of opened up the stream early. And it said we'll be live soon. And also, I will admit, I do believe some of our Saturday coverage, the audio level was definitely a bit low. However, if you go to our Facebook page, I have broken down all the videos and the links. If you watch our Sunday coverage, we definitely had a much more refined product, and the levels and formatting was definitely better. So again, we're kind of learning. And to Mike's comment, some of this was definitely planning on our end. So special shout out to Chris Hawaiian for kind of essentially getting us a kind of a roadmap on how to stream this match, because he was helping out there set up the Starlink to get Wi-Fi so that we can have impact scoring run. So big shout out to him. And he kind of divulged how he would do it. However, on our end, Mike took the liberty to learn the program and all the hardware and setup for us to use streaming on the match. Now, it was myself and Chris and Mike in attendance, and Mike was set on ROing. However, again, Mike was the only person that knew how to run the system. So Saturday morning, he essentially plugged everything in and said, fucking figure.
Yeah.
So that's why we weren't so early on Saturday morning.
And then we tried to force dehydrate on him and couldn't.
Yes, I eventually did figure it out, and then it crashed, and then we refigured it out. So that's why there's limited coverage on Saturday. Now on to Mike's heat stroke. I'll let Tony explain that and Mike explain that. So
this is a fun story. So in the period of ROing, you end up just kind of standing around a lot. And so I was standing on Saturday. It was quite warm. Mike always wants Gatorade now. I've been told just take the Gatorade. Mm-hmm. So you're standing there, and we had JR's nice, wonderful 5.5 ton truck, whatever. And there's a nice metal deck on it. And the stage I was ROing, stage 1, you would lie prone on that deck. And for the shooter, you're only on the deck for like a minute or two at the most, getting set up, getting off. I, on the other hand, am standing about face height with this grill for most of the day. And then all of a sudden, I kind of sitting there, and all I hear on the radio is, guys, someone needs to come on stage 1 because I'm not feeling great. As I'm holding the ladder to not fall over, because I was committed and get running all my squads through.
Learning opportunity for people.
And from
shooting.
That point,
hydrate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hydration is so important.
So here's a photo of Mike shooting off the deck of that truck that would later give him heat stroke. So
Imagine 28 degrees and you're like a foot away from the truck at like shoulder height. Your face is just getting baked. Yeah, it was fun. I had a blast.
Thankfully, you were pretty much, I think, the only one who really had issues.
I think I was actually the only person that had a hydration issue.
Maybe.
Interestingly, though, talking about noticing things to do differently, i.e., hydrate and make sure you eat so that your mental acuity is on point and functioning properly. It was extremely interesting seeing how much money people have in their hands when they approach a stage. And this is coming from someone who works full-time as a gunsmith in product design and development in guns. How much money people spend on their guns and they feed like shit.
Fuck.
I was blown away to see how many guns, not commenting on the gun makers or anyone by any stretch, or the gunsmiths who built them, but especially with a lot of the oddball short stubby cartridges that are traditionally more bench rest oriented. Man, a lot of people dumped a lot of money in guns that I would personally, if I was building, think that they should be working or feeding far better than they do. Now, there's a large aspect of individual user in that because hand loads, mags, all of that jazz.
Yeah.
But
mags and chassis alignment.
Yep. Lots of janky little fixes here and there, but it was very interesting to see
feed ramp tuning.
all sorts of things that you shouldn't have to do if a gun is properly put together. But very interesting to observe how many guns had feed problems, and the ones that typically didn't have feed problems was like a guy running a factory Tika in 243, and it worked perfectly.
Right.
Are you saying that the brand load of ammo? No, it was not the brand or the load of ammo or the cartridge per se. It's purely a function of there's a lot of different technical aspects into making a firearm feed properly. You basically have 8 stages within the cycle of operations of a gun, right? You have loading or your source of ammunition. You have feeding, chambering, locking, firing, unlocking, extracting, ejecting, and then feeding again, right? And all of those individual steps, they sometimes happen in perhaps slightly different order depending on the type of firearm action that you're talking about. But there's a lot of nuance to all of those little steps. And especially when you're shooting short, stubby cartridges, say like 6BR or whatever, which
6BR definitely one of those.
As the name implies, for bench rest, which are being single loaded, there can be a lot of feed issues. And from what I can generally say, it's often related to how fast someone runs the bolt. And people can be consistent, but they're never nearly as consistent as hypothetically a well-tuned semi-auto that has the same sort of dynamics shot through shot, all things being equal. So how fast you run the bolt can affect how well it feeds. The magazines you're using, if they're double stacked to single feed or if they're true double stack, the lug arrangement, so on and so forth. Especially on the short case side of things, you tend to see extraction and or ejection issues. Sorry, not extraction, but ejection. You can have ejection issues, especially with plunger ejectors because the case is so short and how it interacts with raceways and when it gets drawn out of the action. There's a million different aspects that play into properly making a gun feed and function. And I thought it was very interesting to see how many guns did not feed well for how much money they spent on the guns.
Yes.
Fuck yes.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the game they play with these new hot rod cartridges. So
That's right.
Oh yes.
They are tending to go a certain direction that is stubby and pointed like
No.
small 6 mils, wide base.
And there's good
whereas your-
ballistic reasons behind that.
Yes, when
because
they
you
do
have a
shoot,
shorter, you have a shorter powder column in the case. You
Mhm.
hypothetically can get more efficient burn. Because typically, as a general ballistic comment, all things being equal, you know, assuming you have a very consistent charge load, so on and so forth, the best barrel length is typically relative to bore diameter and desired
Yes.
velocity, as well as what they call complete burn. And you want your powder or your charge to ideally at shot exit with the bullet leaving the muzzle to have complete burn.
Yeah.
And then when you have consistent complete burn, you end up having arguably a more
24 inches.
accurately performing firearm, right?
Yes.
So
Right.
those short, fat cartridges can help in that, which is great. Your powder
With
burn,
small bullets.
your powder charge, your column is fantastic,
Mhm.
but the physical limitations of that tend to lead to a lot of feed problems.
Mhm. That's definitely one observation. So
So if you're getting into PRS
Mhm.
and you want to build a gun, don't start with something that's going to give you a load of headaches that you have to figure
Yes.
out. Start with a cartridge. I work in the business. I have minimal time to reload. Lots of people like reloading, and that's awesome. Pick a cartridge that if you need to, you can buy good factory ammo for, and then you can also learn to reload.
What?
6.5
ahead.
Creed.
6.5 Creedmoor. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honest to God,
308
6.5
even if you
Creedmoor.
really wanted to.
Yeah.
Seriously. You look through the entire spectrum of those two cartridges, and it is like it'll cover everything.
Mhm.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No.
You're right.
No, exactly.
I still
From
like
a
my
recoil
6 Creedmoor,
perspective, a capabilities perspective, the gun's going to feed, it's going to work. Loads of ammo out there.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to say that there's a better cartridge for someone getting into it or even an experienced shooter, right?
Mhm.
The less you have to worry about from all of the stuff I just kind of discussed, and that's only a small portion overall, the less you have to worry about on that side of things, the more you'll actually learn to shoot properly.
Definitely. So
Well, that and your whole shoot process too.
yes.
The which, sorry?
Your shot, like you get off, you don't have to worry about ammo. Like I've done my ammo. The brass goblins are picking up all our brass. Life is good. You go reload your ammo. You go pick up your box out of the ammo out of your box. You load it. It's good. You're not worrying about bullets falling out or anything. It's one less thing to focus on.
Exactly. 6GT is also a neat cartridge, as Carly just mentioned. And so is
I kind of want one of those
Creedmoor.
Bergera competitions in 6GT.
You should buy one in 6.5 Creedmoor, though.
They look neat.
They are.
Probably should.
For a factory,
I should have all three, to be honest with you.
agreed. I actually just had one out for some testing the other day. Premier competition in 6.5. And it stacked all of the rounds well under half an inch. I mean, as it should. It was certainly much closer to, like 0.3 some odd. And that was shooting factory Hornady. I want to say 140 ELD match. There's loads of good factory guns out there. The Bergera competition is one of them. It's ready to roll out of the box, and it will far outperform the vast majority of shooters. And that's often a hole that you see a lot of people go down, certainly online or in online discussions. You're better off, or sorry, no, let me restate that. Most shooters cannot consistently shoot nearly as good as what a good rifle can perform from a purely mechanical
100%.
perspective.
Yeah.
100%.
So
That's why this is a sport. Is you are the weak link.
Exactly. Yes.
That's why you have to be good.
Yeah.
You have to have a minimum level of good gear, but you have to be the best.
Yep. That's
in
exactly
the
right.
scenario.
Yeah, it's a very interesting world.
Somebody's
in sport.
25 Creedmoor was hot though. Did you see some of the 25 Creedmoor brass?
Oh, wait.
Yes. It was a very neat cartridge.
Oh, those. But some of the brass at the match, the primers were getting punched right out. Someone was running that stupid hot.
I don't doubt that.
And I was like, oh wow, putting that one back
25
down.
by 47 improved.
But are you popping them primers out though?
Like a G6.
No. 20 and 100. Yep. No primers popped. Mm-hmm.
Yet.
All right.
That's impressive.
6.5 Rooster with the 147s.
Is 708? I have never seen someone use it. I don't see why you couldn't. It's probably not used nearly as much just because there are other cartridges, i.e. the 6.5 or some of the 6 mils, that just have ballistic or superior ballistics, less recoil, and probably more projectile availability if you're hand loading. For this sport, at least 7mm.8 is still an amazing cartridge.
Yes, and there's a niche cartridge.
But like, you want to beat yourself up like that.
Us tack shooters like the beat down. But I wanted to bring up there's a couple niche cartridges around the 7mm that have been used in PRS. And one of them is the 7 Saw. So essentially it is it's not quite acleized. I would say it's essentially PRC'd. So it is kind of following that same kind of trait line.
What's the base case though, Derek?
It is still a 308 case.
Okay. Which is 384.
Yes, it's still 308. It's still the parent case. It just the neck, shoulder, and overall length design is differing from the 708. So that's somewhat common. Again, with the 7mm bullets, you have to still be in that higher weight range to get that high BC. So you're kind of losing out there, but it is a popular kind of dual cartridge because again, 708, great hunting cartridge. And then the other one is the 7 Machine, which is another very close 7mm.08 variant. So.
Yeah, you don't tend to see a lot of 7s in general, though. You either see 6s or 6.5s, kind of the smaller end of things. Occasionally 308s because of tactical class or whatever.
Yep.
But
a little bit more of the 25s coming out too now.
Exactly. The long,
which
sleek,
is splitting the
bullets.
difference between the 6 and the 6.5 anyways. So
yeah.
Well, we're hitting that just about 1 minute 45 mark, so we should land this here plane. So, just want to.
Do you want to hear about a different 7mm?
Go ahead. We got room for one more cartridge, and then we're calling it. So.
Okay, so my 6.5 Rooster is a 7mm. Neck to 6.5, but
7mm.8.
No, so it's a 284 neck down to 6.5, but shortened to what the hell is it? 302 thou less than. What the hell is it? 284.
Yeah, we established that.
Yeah, that would have a decent amount of powder capacity.
Well, and that's the thing I thought about. Because it's got a 500 base.
535,
No,
you mean?
yeah.
Like Magnum bolt face? Like a 300 mag or whatever? No.
No,
284 is not that. Why
a
am I thinking-
500. Same as a 284. And same shoulder as a 284, the 35 degree. But same body. And the hell of it is the what the hell is it? That 7 saw, whatever, based on the 708 case, just does not compare because the diameter differences just seems silly.
So basically,
Damn right.
you reinvented the 6.5 284.
Yes.
Yes, just shorter.
So the 6.5
100%,
PRC-ish.
Yes. Yeah, which
So-
it did come out very close to the 6.5 PRC.
You
But
know
it
what's
came
funny
out
is
before the 6.5 PRC though.
is that all the shit that I invented and sent out for reamer design and everything was before the 6.5 PRC actually came out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sort of. The 6.5 PRC came out of the SOM, the SAE,
Check.
right?
Checked all the same boxes except for bolt face diameter.
Mhm.
And,
But you got to deal with a rebated rim on the 284.
right.
Not on the 6.5
Right.
PRC. All right.
It's an interesting.
So-
Yeah, that's kind of cool though. That's the one thing I've never played with is like the full-on cartridge design side, like AI shoulders and all that crap. I mean, I say crap facetiously.
Mhm.
By all means, play with it.
Yes.
But there are
All
amazing,
good.
great factory cartridges that do all of that. But it is actually very interesting on the cartridge design side of things.
And speaking of design, we have a knife that we kind of designed. So, as you may know,
Right.
working the YouTube grind pays less than a solar farm in a blizzard. If you want to support the channel directly, head on over to storyknives.com or cdnprecision.com if you're out east and pick up one of our Gardner knives. We think this is one of the best survival type / everyday fixed blade knives available for a very reasonable cost. We're pretty proud of this guy, so please go have a look at a great knife. We'll be confident you'll be on your side for a lifetime. I also want to shout out Anthony for coming on here today. Big, skinny, fat Tony.
Thank you.
whatever we're calling you now.
Yeah.
For coming on and joining us from,
Yeah, for
of
sure.
course, our friends at Odell Engineering and sharing his wisdom, his voice, and his personality with us. Also, please check the show out at facebook.com/BS podcast and leave us a review to let us know how we're doing. Also, especially appreciate that on our live stream. Let us know. Thanks for the feedback. Again, we'll look at those audio levels. If you like the content, please leave us a like on the page and share. Also, email us with any questions you might have. We'd love to hear from you at info@bspodcast.ca. You can also win that 338 Lapua by sending $20 your name and your phone number to that same email. In closing, I want to give a massive thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you, we wouldn't have a show here in the first place. We're talking Shane and Steve with EM Precision Rifles, Miles, Carey, and Cappy with Call Sign 66, Duncan and Rob at Bolt Action Coffee, Phil Odell at Odell Engineering, Doug and Isa at March Scopes Canada, Vanya and Carly with Apex Optics, Oscar with Ribstone Gunsmithing, J.R. Cox with Sterling Arms International. Thank you all in our measurable amount. And I'm actually going to leave us today with our Apex promo video because I like it. And then, then we'll do the outro video.
Yeah.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS. Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.